Hey folks, I wanted to do a quick review on the Hanwei Tinker Bastard Sword that I just purchased. Um, this is actually my first European sword, first sword ever actually, but um, first European sword, and it came pretty highly recommended by a lot of folks on like the sword forum, saying to go with the Hanwei Tinker line, best bang for the buck, and um, I unboxed it a couple days ago, and I would have to say that I agree with them that this is probably the way to go to get into collecting. It's a pretty good deal, and seems like a lot of value. You'll probably hear me say that a lot, like just value, but I think that's probably right where this is. So first things first, I have a little just leather frog that I got off Amazon. So that's not normally included. Um, can just slide off the scabbard, I guess. So we can take a look at it. So scabbard is just a kind of typical plain black leather with some metal fitting scabbard. Um, a lot of people have complained about the swing, and you can't hear it. So it definitely is rubbing a little bit, but in all, it is a good quality scabbard. Feels pretty solid. Um, yeah, just good quality. Very plain, but utilitarian. It'll absolutely do what it's supposed to do. The one thing that I will say is that the leather feels really nice. So, not sure what quality it is, but it feels pretty decent. Feels like good leather. So, again, plain, but it will definitely do the job. All of the metal fittings on the sword and on the scabbard to have this mirrored finish, which is really going to scratch easily and show fingerprints and whatnot. So if you're not into that, or that is a concern of yours, um, you know, just keep that in mind. All right, moving on to the meat and potatoes. We have the Hanwei Tinker Bastard Sword, which is a hand and a half sword. You can see here, it's got the same mirrored finish on the furniture, so on the cross guard and on the pommel. The grip appears to have a little bit different leather, but it's also leather wrapped. You can feel underneath there is some cord under there, but it's definitely not as pronounced as some other manufacturers who will um, wrap the cord over the leather afterwards to give it some texture. This isn't like that. It definitely has a very soft, I would say almost luxurious feel to the leather. Again, really feels like good quality leather. The only one thing that I would add on this guy is that it feels really soft. Not sure how durable it's going to be under cutting tests or sparring or just handling or anything like that. Um, so keep that in mind. With that, you do have the hex nut on the pommel, so probably not historically accurate, but if you can get over that, what you're getting is a lot of bang for the buck. Um, a lot of guys have also complained about really loose fittings. Not with this guy at all. I mean, this is rock solid, and there's not a ton of gapping in there. So, I mean, to me, it seems like an acceptable amount. But again, I'm a novice, so if you're looking at this review for expert insight, I'm not your guy. I'm a guy who's just beginning to get into it, reading all the material I can. So take it with a grain of salt, but feels pretty tight to me, looks pretty tight to me. On to the blade. This is the non-fullered version. Um, Aesthetics aside, I didn't see much incentive to go for the fullered version, and it really came down to this version was in stock at the place where I ordered it from for Amazon. So, um, it's a typical, I believe they call this a Type 18, if I'm not mistaken, blade. So it does have some distal taper, and it does come to a pretty pronounced point that you can see there. Again, non-fullered version, so if you're into that sort of thing, they do offer it in a fullered version. They also offer it in a blunt sword. This is not that. This is the sharp version, and going over the edge, I mean, I'm trying to respect this as much as possible, but towards the hilt, a little bit of an edge, third of the way up, decent edge. Halfway up, nothing, no edge. 2/3 of the way up, nothing, no edge. Once we get up towards the point, nothing at all. So really all of your edge is on this first third to a half. And after that, you get really nothing, which is the opposite of what a sword should be. I mean, I understand this is overseas and it's mass produced and it's a production line piece, but you would, when you're paying for the sharpening, you would just think you would get sharpening in the right spot as opposed to the wrong spot. Just me. So again, if you're going to pay for the extra sharpening, know that it isn't the best. And I've done a lot of reading on secondary bevel sharpening versus an Appleseed bevel. It has a bevel, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I had heard it was going to be, and not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, in all, it's really not a bad blade. It's just you're going to have to do some work in the sharpening. They did the tough work, and you're going to have to hone it down and get a whetstone and do a little more work. So, in all, for the price that you pay for this sword, I don't know how you're going to do better, and that's not my advice. That's just the advice of the experts. So I guess where I come in as a novice is that I feel like I got a ton of value for the money. I paid a little bit over $220, and that was with free shipping and no sales tax in my state. And I don't know how you could do better for that price to get an actual battle ready, if you want to call it that, a real sword. For me, I just really wanted something that could hang on the wall and look cool, look beautiful, but also I don't like things that aren't real, if that makes sense. Whether it be guitars or firearms or any other hobbies that I enjoy and collect, I want them to have their purpose. And for me, getting some sort of, Lord of the Rings stainless steel wall hanging sword, limited edition, just wasn't gonna do it for me because I knew that it wasn't real. So that's kind of the thing. I like things that are kind of utilitarian, and the beauty is in the form of it. And I think you lose all that if you don't get something that's real. So if you're looking at getting into collecting, I don't know how you could do really any better than the Hanwei Tinker line. Yes, not going to be 100% historically accurate because of the threaded pommel nut, but I'm willing to overlook that just because I think I got a really, really good value. Again, I purchased this off of Amazon from a store called Fuddlebucks. It was $220 with free shipping. I had some gift cards that brought the price down even further. And of note, I did actually reach out to them about the sharpening and spoke to them. And they said that it is kind of an issue that's kind of known with Hanweis. And for what it's worth, they threw me a $15 refund. So that was actually pretty decent of them, but that was with a specific vendor, not the company. So again, if you're looking for a really good just value and a lot of bang for the buck, getting into collecting, or if you're going to start doing some practical Hema or anything like that, I understand these are really, really big in that arena too. I don't know how you could go wrong. This feels like a really, really good quality piece. Balances well, feels well in the hand. Again, this is the hand and a half, they would call it, but I have hands about the size of your sister, so for me it is a full two hand with even a tiny bit of separation without going onto the pommel. But yeah, like I said, I feel like this is a really, really good value. And if you're looking at getting into swords, I don't know how you can do better for a European sword. So Hanwei Tinker line, in my modest and novice opinion, I don't know how you could really do better. So thanks for watching.